Hi, this is Alan Aubsch with Financial Network Analytics, and welcome to FNA Correlations. We're going to now look at European sovereign bonds, and I'll focus on the Greek crisis, actually. And what we see in front of us here are European 10-year government bonds, and we have a minimum spanning correlation tree here. Correlations are represented by the links. The closer the links are together, the shorter they are, the higher the correlation. For example, the correlation between Luxembourg and Slovakia is 0.73. So what we can tell immediately here is that countries that are most correlated to all the other countries are at the center. So we can see here France, Germany, Finland are very central to the network. They're highly correlated, highly systemically important, while countries like Romania, Hungary, Bulgaria, Greece, Croatia are at the periphery. So we can see at this particular point in time, April 10th, we saw a major surprise with Greek bonds. They plunged by 15%, and that was a 3.9 standard deviation move, so an exceptional monthly move. We can see that this was not the first negative outlier for Greece. Indeed, it had four negative outliers over the last 20 weeks. So we've seen Greece escalating on the downside. Volatility shot up for Greece here. And so the question is this systemic risk? Well, let's look at the overall network. So the good news here is that Greece and Portugal are at the periphery. So if you look at the overall systematic risk of the entire network, we can see systematic risk had actually been trending down, and the length of the tree had been trending up, meaning the network is getting more spread out. Very coupled network, for example, would be in December 2008 during the financial crisis, when the tree was much more closely clustered together. That's a more vulnerable network. But at this point in time, in April of 2010, let's go back there, we can see the network is actually fairly decoupled, so high length of the tree, low systematic risk. So Greece seems to be cascading down more or less alone, or rather with a small group of others. So we can see the outlier in Portugal and a close correlation there. We can also see that there's a high correlation to Ireland at that point in time, but you can see that the correlation has been trending down. We can see there's also positive correlation with Spain, but that correlation has been trending down as well. And then there's a positive correlation with Greece, with Italy, between Italy and Greece of 0.4. So what this is really telling you is that the most correlated markets here are Portugal, Ireland, Spain, and Italy. But at this very point, we can see that the systematic risk of the overall network really hasn't been impacted very much, and it seems to be really isolated to Greece and Portugal at this point in time, with negative returns for Italy, Spain, and Ireland as well. If we look at the correlation between Greece and Germany, we can see that Greece has effectively decoupled from Germany since about September, October 2008, and actually we can see currently a negative correlation. So from the perspective of the overall European network, this was a clear early warning signal for Greece. However, putting this in context of the overall systematic risk of the entire network, we can see that, let's go to the peak of the Greek crisis. We can see even then Greece is very much at the periphery, not a driver of core systematic risk within Europe. Let's look at the focus view here. This was in February, just before the bailout. Looking at the focus view here, we can see at this point there's only a positive correlation with Portugal, between Portugal and Greece, and there's actually negative correlation between Greece, Belgium, Czech, and Luxembourg against most other markets. So we can see that this European sovereign debt crisis really was much more constrained to certain specific markets. It was really much more around Greece, Portugal, Ireland, Spain, and Italy the most connected ones, but at this point in time you can see that it's very much Greece, and that Greece has been actually decoupling from the rest of the European system. So if we look at the most recent data here in March and look at the focus view in Greece, we can see actually now consistent negative correlations or statistically insignificant correlations to the rest of Europe. So right now Greece is really trading as if it were not part of the European bond system. Hope this was useful. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at alan@fna.fi.